guys, how's it going? Today is nice enough for us to get out and do a little bit of pruning. You can see the sun is shining, the wind is not blowing, it's still below freezing at the moment, but it's going to warm up a little bit higher than that today. So we are going to tackle the Colette climbing roses that are on the arbors on either end of our raised bed garden today. I'm looking forward to it because they're just a complete wreck. When we are done with that, I'm hoping we have enough time to go into the greenhouse and repot a bamboo that I picked up at the garden center yesterday. It's gorgeous, and I want to get it in a prettier pot than it's in right now. We're going to start with the arbor in the sun, and then hopefully by the time we're done, the arbor over there on the other side, hopefully that's in the sun by then. But they are going to look very different when we are done than they do right now. They are just, my goodness, crazy growth. So for pruning projects like this, and really for any garden clean out, we just wait for a good weather opportunity to get those kinds of things done. We kind of like to chip away at it as the weather allows. Some people like to wait a little bit later. It makes them a little bit more comfortable to prune later in the season, like late winter, early spring, which that's totally great too. But I am looking forward to seeing these look a little bit better. Our supplies are pretty simple. I've got my pop-up bag and a ladder so I can reach the high branches. I've got my Falcos and then these gloves, and we'll flash the number of these up on the screen. I can't remember. They're not their actual rose gloves. That's not what they're advertised as, but they are awesome. Like, they're thick, but they're not so thick that I can't really feel what I'm doing, and you can get in there and not get hurt at all by any thorns. It's just awesome. And these are thorny roses. See all those big old thorns? Whew. Not as thorny as like a rugosa or something, but they are sharp and they're plentiful. My approach for pruning climbing roses is very similar to the method I use on pretty much everything else. First thing I do is take off all of the big mangy growth because it makes everything else more visible and easy to see. And then I look for anything diseased, damaged, or dead. Those are easy things to identify. Broken branches, dead branches will look very light brown and maybe puckered. Diseased if they've got black spots all over them, and weak branches too. If you see any real spindly, weak looking branches, I like to cut those out, and then I start making training cuts. Now at this point, because I've been doing it for so long, I can kind of blend all of those steps together and do everything all at the same time all the way around the rose plant. So there's really only two things that you need to know about a climbing rose, and that's the two kind of canes that you've got going on. You've got your main canes, which you don't want a tremendous amount of, and I'm going to be taking a lot of these out. See, like a lot of these more spindly looking branches in here I don't need to have. Usually I end up with, I don't know, anywhere between 6, 7, 8, maybe 9 main canes, and those are the big thick ones that you can follow all the way up to the top of the arbor. Here's a good example. You've got your main cane coming from the bottom, and it comes all the way up, and then I've been training it around the fence section here. And then you've got lateral canes, and those are all of the canes that are growing off of your main cane, and that's where the plant will bloom. So really what I end up with are main canes and then little short pieces of lateral canes that come off the main cane. So like this one right here, you can see the main cane, and then you can see all of these little ones. So what I do on these laterals, I don't want them to be super long because that's what we're trying to get rid of. I come in and I find a node, which you can usually tell they look a little bit more swollen. See if I can get better close up here. See that right there? It kind of looks like a joint, like there's a little line, and it's usually a little bit more swollen at a node like that. So I'll usually follow a lateral cane up to one of those that look good, and then I'll cut just above it. Like that. Here's another example. There's the main cane right here, and then this is actually a lateral that's grown quite large. So what I want to do is just follow the lateral down. You can see the node right there. Right there. And we're just going to make a cut right above it. Thus getting rid of all of this growth, which we do not want to keep. And it will produce a new stem right there, which will be perfect. That'll produce blooms as well. One more. So again, main cane, we've got our lateral, our node right down in here. We're just going to cut above it. Perfect. So really, in the end, if you know the structure you're looking for, which are main canes with laterals long enough to have 1 or 2 buds on them, then you can really do it all at once. You can remove anything weak or dead, damaged, diseased, any of the long mangy growth all at one time with one cut, instead of having to go in and get the mangy growth off and then go back in and dissect. So you can just kind of go at it wherever your comfort level is. If it's more comfortable to get rid of all of the mangy growth so that you can see everything better, do it that way. It'll just take a little bit longer, and you will get more comfortable with the whole thing as you go along. The one other thing you want to do is remove leaves, because leaves tend to harbor over disease and insects, things like that. Can't even believe ours look the way they do right now. Like, look at that. Still looking pretty nice. So a lot of the leaves will be removed when we take off the long branches, but anything on the interior of the plant, we want to make sure to clean the whole thing out. Probably going to cut back this clematis at the same time because it's looking a mess. So here's a before shot of this rose. So let's do it.
Mom, look at
Yeah. All right, one down, one to go. Look at that. So much better. And as I'm looking at it, boy, you could go way harsher than I did today. To be quite honest, like you could really strip it down bare. And there have been years where I do that. What I aim for usually is making sure that I don't have a lot of crisscrossing branches, which I see one right there. See that one that's kind of cruising across? I'll probably come in and clip that out. And that's the thing too, you can go at it one day and then come back and reassess and do more, especially if you're just a beginner. I was so much more tentative in my early days. I didn't want to mess it up and I didn't want to take too much off. So it made me feel better to just approach it just a little bit at a time, just kind of how sometimes it's helpful to approach a project in steps rather than just wailing into it. So anyway, yeah, you could really go to town. You just want to make sure that every branch and every lateral branch that you leave will have plenty of room to grow and like plenty of light around it and plenty of room for airflow. But if you see these Colette roses, even if I take them down bare, they grow so fast. They are massive roses and they get super thick no matter how much I cut them down. Did you find a spot for your nest? Yes. We found an abandoned bird nest and she's having the best time with it. She's been looking for new homes to put it in. Oh, right there.
And
you know,
I put some food here.
That's a good idea.
I put some food here, and I put a bird nest so they can sleep.
Oh, but how do you think we are going to get the door open of the greenhouse? Do you suppose it might get knocked over?
Maybe I'll put it in a different place.
Yeah, we want to keep it safe, huh? That's an excellent spot. Lots of cushy growth right there. So you can kind of like hollow it out with your hand. See that? Just place it. Oh, they would love that. See, that's protected too. See all of this stuff, and then they can use some of the echinacea. They can eat some of the seeds.
Yeah, see?
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it in.
Perfect.
Yeah, they would all like that.
Good job, babe.
Every time I like playing with these.
No, and me too. You know, those are seeds. You could go spread them out in a flower bed.
I'll spread them out right in the flower bed.
Okay, so fun. It's actually feeling pretty warm out here. I wonder what the temp is now. Oh, it's 32, you know. Perfect temp. Actually, for a minute there, I was thinking I was going to take my vest off. I was getting hot. But look at this. You can follow this main cane down, and you can see just a bunch of lateral branches coming off of it. And all of those will produce roses. So this will just be this big mass, this big arc of blooms right here. And on this side, I was able to train a new cane over. So I had this one trained kind of right up here. So I popped that one out and then wove it in the fence slats right here. What do you call those? I don't know, fence slats. And then I brought this one over and tucked it in right here. So hopefully we'll have more roses popping out on this side. I did cut the clematis back right there, and I cut one back in the corner over there. And here's a look from this angle. So an after shot, you can see that these arbors are just like we're starting to lose parts. And this one's a little wobbly. And you know, we have been talking about removing this raised bed garden and putting it somewhere else. And we were thinking about putting it in the kitchen flower bed area. And then I just got to looking at it. It's too small. I think in order to fit in what I would want, it would have to spill way over into the flower beds in front of the Hartley, and that's not really the look I want right there. So I don't really want to force anything. So I think we're just going to go with it again this year and garden in this space, which makes my heart happy, really, because I love this space. And yes, it would be nice to have a great big evergreen border over here because our neighbors are eventually building a shop that will be fairly close to our fence line, and I don't begrudge them that at all. But I think it'll be nice to have this space just one more year and give us some time to think about where we could maybe relocate it where it makes a little bit more sense. Our fence needs to be stained really bad too. Whew, it used to be black. Now it's like, it's looking a little shabby. Okay, let's tackle this other side. It's in a little bit more light at the moment. I think this one might be a little bit more crazy too. Look at all this side growth over here. It's just like, oh my goodness. Look at that. Oh my word. Can't even get to the hose hardly. This is gonna be satisfying. My word, what a difference. Look at this. So this side kind of the same. We could go a little bit harsher on our pruning, but overall, I think we are ready for this next season. I love seeing these. I love seeing the branches on this fence right here. This is always such a pretty spot. And then this area, it gets more shade now that there's, you know, the elderberry that gets pretty large, but there's a sparky, I think pink clematis back in here that's gorgeous, and it climbs over the fence and kind of intermingles with the rose. And while this side, because it's in the shade, doesn't get a ton of blooms, this side usually has several, and it's really pretty. So you've got like the light pink clematis with the light pink rose. Oh, I always like it when the elderberry and rose look like two separate plants too. So they're not connected there by some really long rose canes. Now we've got a lot of other roses to prune down, climbers and regular shrub roses. You can see these are Ambridge rose right here. The foliage is staying pretty nice. It's been pretty mild this winter. Temps down into the high teens, is as low as it's gotten so far. Last year we were down to -6, so it feels like a real mild winter this year so far. Just wanted to give you a look back from this end so you could see both arbors without all that mangy growth on top. It's so awesome. And that is one chore done. So now I need to go empty out our gator. I'll show you how much we ended up with. And we need to go pick out a pot for our bamboo. Now this is a variety that is a spreading type, and bamboo is incredibly aggressive. So just like we do with mint, we're gonna keep it in a container. This is it right here. We gotta go dump all this first. And we have to get Aaron to help us probably lift a big pot. Okay, we are out in the red barn to pick out a pot. I'm not seeing, I mean, we've got quite a lot of pots out here. Aaron's out here to help me lift. I'm looking for Aaron something like the size of this terracotta one. I was kind of hoping to have one that was concrete that size. Do you
have any out in the landscape?
We've got resin. Not like that. They're all kind of urn style,
Oh.
and this one needs to be on the ground because the plant's already really tall.
Sounds like
So,
we need to place another order.
are you?
Pots.
Is that the green light? I think we'll just go with this one for now, even though it's not ideal. Okay, let me help you.
I got it.
You sure?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Whew. There you go.
Oh, perfect. Look at this plant. Isn't that gorgeous? Oh, I could not pass it up. And they have more of these down at the garden center. I thought, oh, wouldn't it be beautiful to just have a whole bunch of these potted around the house? I just love the texture of them. And the really fun part, I was just showing Erin this, you're essentially growing your own bamboo garden stakes. You can take a look in here. There's 3 more in here that are ready to be cut out, and we can use these out in the garden. Maybe they'll just break out. Let's try. Yeah, look at that. That's what we buy to stake up our plants out in the garden, minus these. And this variety, the stems are supposed to grow upwards of 1 inch, so you can get some really nice big size stakes eventually. Now, I don't know if they will get that big in a container. It is Bisset or Bisset bamboo, that's the variety, and it's a spreading type. So they do say even on the tag you need to contain it because it will want to take over. Now, I don't know, bamboo in our area, it's a little bit hard. They burn in our sun, so we can't plant them in our full sun, even if we were to keep them wet enough. They like really consistently moist soil, not soggy or like swampy, but consistent moisture all the time. And they would not get that naturally here. So I don't know how they would behave outside, but I thought this would be so pretty to pot and have it in here for now because the sun isn't as intense right now. And then we can move it out and maybe put it underneath our like covered patio area that surrounds the bottom of our house. That might look really pretty. There's a couple of spots, like a couple of wall spaces that are kind of empty and big. That would be really beautiful to break it up. And did I mention it's a zone 5 through 11? So it's a hardier type bamboo. And I don't know if there are less aggressive varieties of bamboo out there. Probably are. Some that don't spread. They maybe like clump and don't like run around super bad. I don't know. But it could be like a tiger eye sumac sort of situation where they say it's not supposed to spread as bad as the older varieties, and they do. I do not trust a tag very much in that regard anymore. But I just think this is so beautiful, and it looks really pretty just tucked in right behind this chair, actually, which I need to cover. I knew this would happen. Look at this. Look at that cat hair. The culprit. I think what I'm going to do is clean these cushions and then just put like a towel or something, some kind of a cover over them that we can take off so we can sit in these chairs without getting hair all over us, and then we'll pop the towel back on. I hate to have to do that. Ugh. But anything for your comfort, my liege. Okay, so we are just going to repot this bamboo from its 5-gallon container into this terracotta pot, and I am going to mix a little bit of biotone in with the soil this time. So we've got soil, we've got biotone. I am not certain of the dimension of this, but what is it, like 20-ish inches? Maybe 22, 24, I don't know. 20 to 24 inches. We'll just say that. And this I don't have any use for yet, but I'm going to go put it in our stack of bamboo stakes. Okay. Oh. There's another one. This definitely has a worse side. I'm going to face that toward that. There we go. A little bit of soil first. And a little bit of biotone. Not measuring it, just pouring it in. Okay, then I'm just going to give it a good mix. See if this is hard to get out of its container. My goodness. Sometimes that does it. Oh, mercy. I'm going to have to cut this pot off of the root ball. Oh my goodness. Whoa. Oh my goodness. I just want to even fluff a root ball like this. There we go. Oh. All right. Well, I feel like that's about the best I can do. Ooh, and there it is, all done. Doesn't it look beautiful right there? Oh my goodness. I am going to have to keep my eye on it though, because I kind of forgot about the air coming out of the heater. It kind of blows to the side of this plant though. It just was running just a few minutes ago, and I noticed just the edge, like the leaves on the edge were moving, but it wasn't touching the rest of the plant. So I might have to scoot it a bit. I may not have to. It never runs for very long, so we'll just see how that goes. But look at how perfect that looks. I mean, it's happy in this container right now, but it won't be for long, probably. Oh, part of the tag fell into the soil. Yeah, there's the name right there. Bisset, Philostachys bissetti, 20 feet tall, spreading, zone 5 through 11. It's just such a beautiful leafy backdrop right now. There is some kind of barrier. Is it like bamboo guard or something similar to that you can sink into the ground that keeps it from running? I don't know if it works really well. I've considered doing that with my raspberry plants. Oh my gosh, they run like crazy. Even with like underneath the raised bed kind of situation that we have them planted in, they run right underneath it and right out in the middle of the rows. So I've thought of maybe getting some of that bamboo stuff to just sink in the soil right there to keep our raspberries in check. And I don't know how well it works for bamboo, but like I said, I think that this one's going to be really well suited for this container. I think it's going to be a really fun one to try. Russell, do you love it? You love the cushion. Look at that, just kneading away. Oh, we're going to get up on top? Yes. Very nice, buddy. You look very regal. Quite a scene right there. Anyway, guys, that is it for today's projects. It was so nice to get out in the garden and do something out there. And just looking out the greenhouse doors and seeing that those roses are tamed back, it just looks so much better. And now they're prepped and ready to go. Typically, when I prune my roses in the spring, even if it's pretty early, I'll usually follow with some rose tone and just get them fertilized at the same time, but it's pretty early at this point. So I think I'll save that step until later when we go around and fertilize all the rest of the roses. We'll just remember to do those at the same time. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed myself thoroughly. Just so nice. And we will see you in the next video. Bye.